Hi. Hope you all are doing well. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about, relationship stuff. One of the things that I know comes up, and I literally had this conversation with a friend of mine and with others on several occasions, and that is, I'm going to roll my windows up. That is, like, how do you end a relationship with somebody who is toxic? Like, how do you end the relationship with somebody who is manipulative, who is toxic, who has toxic behaviors? Basically just how to end a relationship if you really, are having a hard time. That person does all kinds of tactics and things to get you back or to make you feel bad. Okay? Listen, don't take my word for it, right? Because I'm not a therapist or anything like that. I am just, a person who has been through some things and realized that some of the same conversations that I've had with my friends, we're all having them over and over and over and over again, right? So I always say, just, hey, if you need some ideas or you're not quite sure, just type it in on Google. Anything that you're thinking about or that you're questioning, it is great. It is good if you have sound, reliable advice or somebody to talk to, somebody who really does have your best interests at heart, somebody who is spiritually inclined, if you are spiritually inclined, but somebody that you trust, not somebody who is going to try to put their own spin on things or for their own desired outcome. Okay, that kind of person is hard to talk to because they're going to still spin things in a certain kind of way. Okay, so if you don't have that, or you're not quite sure, or maybe you are asking people and you just, a lot of times people do give you bad advice. They don't know how to do it. Just go to Google, right? Just so you can at least have a base of knowledge. Like, okay, a baseline of basic knowledge from maybe a few different type of sources of different therapists or different websites that have different ideas. Okay, anything. I mean, if it's like, how do I put oil in my car? I can Google that, I can YouTube that, right? And I've literally done that type. Believe me, I have done that. I've literally, as a woman, I am not, knowledgeable on cars by any means. Nor did I really think that's my lane. But if I decide to be single, it has to be my lane, which I am fine with. Okay, so I'm saying that because I'm just kind of like sharing advice and different things that I have either learned myself or have, that I've read about or have heard about, things like that. Okay, so I just hope that they help. Now, I'm going to read just what it says. Okay. And I typed in, how to end a toxic, well, I have two different ones that I've typed in. Okay, how to end a relationship that's toxic. And with a manipulator, that's what I typed in. You're going to see there's a couple different ways that it's going to come up. Okay, so I'm going to just read it. Okay, it says, to break up with a manipulator, be direct, firm, concise in your communication, clearly stating your decision to end the relationship without getting drawn into their attempts to guilt trip or rationalize their behavior. Prioritize your own well-being and limit further interaction after the breakup. Consider seeking support from friends, family, or a therapist if needed. If the friends or family are on his or her side, you're not going to get support from there. So just FYI, you won't get support from that person's side of the family or anybody who sides with them, just so you know. Okay? So for example, with me, I had to end a toxic relationship just recently, and when I did that, I didn't even look it up. I didn't look this up, but I knew that ending the relationship with that toxic person also meant ending the relationship with any and everybody who would be on his side, so to speak, or on or what's the word I'm looking for? There's a particular word I'm looking for. Sympathize. Anybody who would be a sympathizer. Okay. Why? Because I decided to prioritize my well-being, right? And because I decided to prioritize my well-being, I knew that nobody who sympathized with this person was going to understand what it was going to take for me to prioritize my well-being. And there are times in life where you do absolutely have to create a boundary and do that for yourself. Now, creating boundaries was on this list when I looked at it, okay? So now I'm going to go into key points to remember if you go scroll down, okay? And it says, choose a calm and private setting to, avoid breaking up during a heated argument or when the manipulator might try to use their environment to their advantage. That is something that what I learned many years ago. My mother taught me this, and it was in a book called How to Disagree Without Being Disagreeable. So there's a book. I read this many, many, many years ago. This is, I think, I read this even before I had kids. But my mother taught me this, that anytime you needed to have a discussion with somebody or have a potentially, not an argument, but a, serious discussion, breakup or whatever, to do it in a mutual location. Not at his house or her house or any place where they feel like you're on their turf and that they could have the upper hand, or where there'll be people there who will side with them, and next thing you know, you're going back and forth in a battle, okay? So that is on this list, and that is absolutely, that was in that book as well, and that is one of the first things that you want to do is to create a mutual ground, okay? Use I statements. Focus on how their behavior has affected you rather than attacking them personally. So instead of saying you always, you, it's all your fault or whatever, just say, that I feel like XYZ and I am made to feel like XYZ and it has affected me like XYZ. So for example, when I am yelled at or screamed at, or when I am scared, or when I am disrespected, or when I am manipulated, or when I feel manipulated, or when I feel used, or when I feel abused, or when I feel tricked, or whatever, it affects me like my hair falls out, or it affects me like my blood pressure goes high and I cannot handle this type of stress. Whatever, yada, 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 yada. Okay. Or, my stress level does not even allow for this type of behavior. Okay. However you need to say whatever you need to say, but that's how you use I statements. Okay. That's how you do that. Now, be clear about your decisions. Don't leave room for doubt. State that you are ending the relationship and why. Be clear about your decision. Okay. State that you're ending the relationship and why. Limit your explanation. Don't feel obligated to justify your decision extensively, especially if they try to manipulate you with questions or pleas. Okay? Absolutely. You do not have to give a long explanation. You may not even have to do it like this at all. You might just simply have to make the statement one time and then, that's it. It says expect pushback. Manipulators may try to guilt you and deny their behaviors or try to change your mind, so stay firm. So whatever your decision is, see, I learned I learned this in one of the therapy, something I read or something online, or maybe it was something I watched. I don't remember, but I remember telling a friend this particular tool is that every time you get upset with that person or whatnot, you can write it down or have a jar, right? And you can write down, the date, what made you upset, and how it made you feel. And this is really good for someone who's been in a long-term abusive relationship, mentally, emotional, psychological, verbally abusive relationship, maybe even physical. Every time this happens, See, because some people like me and my friend, we tend to forget easily. We forgive easily, we forget, and we'll forget that we've actually been on this cycle, or we've been round and round and round on this hamster wheel already so many times, right? And it just becomes this one long blur of aggravation, right? And you might not even realize yourself until you start keeping track how many times that you've actually had to deal with XYZ. Lying, cheating, stealing, whatever that person is doing. Okay, and so, depending on how bad it is, it may only take one time, depending on who it is and how bad the situation is. But if you actually do this, and this is not to keep account of the injury, like the Bible says, you're not supposed to keep account of every single hurt that somebody devises against you, but that's because we're supposed to forgive. But however, we don't have to allow the behavior to continue to happen to the point where we are being hurt physically, emotionally, or whatever. Okay, so forgiveness does not mean forgive and let them do it again. No. And people's behaviors tend to become their patterns. So whatever a pattern that you see in a person, that they're always loud, they're always yelling, they're always disrespectful, they're always pushing boundaries with you, they're always lying, they're always cheating, they're always, doing whatever it is, that they've done it so many times, maybe you just need a visual reminder that if you write it down, you might need that visual reminder that this has literally been happening over and over and over again to you. And each time it's like a knife, like they're sticking a knife in your back. Every time you feel like you're getting stabbed in the back, every single time, right? But the thing is, okay, when that person realizes what they've done and they decide to love bomb you, right, to get you back or whatever, and you're happy for that first 2 weeks or week or however long they can keep up this fake facade, okay, you will forget about whatever, because a lot of us are just naturally that way. But you know what? No, there comes a time in your life where you have to make a decision, and you get to that point when you realize, like, okay, usually somewhere in your 30s, 40s, you're like, wait a minute. Whoa, I've already gone through, like, I've gotten through like half my life or whatever, and here I am, and I'm not doing good emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, whatever. For me personally, it didn't take that long, because I was raised by parents who were very balanced, and a mother who was very forward-thinking and self-aware. And also, for example, in the last situation that I was in, my mother absolutely heard and knew, because of her being who she is, she knew exactly what I was dealing with. She was just like, no, you do what you need to do. Okay. So I have the kind of mother, and my father passed on, but if he was here, I have the kind of parents that were supportive in no abuse, like no abuse of any kind, not mental, emotional, abusive, And so when you're raised with that type of backbone, it's not hard to identify abuse. It's not hard to identify manipulation. It's not hard to identify certain things if the person presents those. So if they present a mask and a Jekyll and Hyde type of situation, and they love bomb you, and all they do is do things to get you, right? Like what I say, they get things to get you, or they do things, or they buy things. There's a saying. Let me see. There's a saying. Do stuff to get stuff. So they do things, specifically do stuff or do things to get things. So they do stuff to get stuff, right? They do that for a purpose. They're doing certain activities and certain love bombing things or whatever for them to get a return on their investment. And that's okay if you're an investment broker. That's okay, in some cases, like if you buy a savings bond, you're expecting to get payback for that. But when you get married, or when you're in a relationship, or whatever, if you are in the relationship for real true reasons, not to quickly get life insurance on somebody so that they can, somehow die. Okay, you hear about people doing that kind of crap, weird stuff. That's like getting something, right? That crazy, ludicrous type of stuff, right? Or they buy you things or do things just to get you so they can get control over you, or whatever it is, whatever that secret manipulation or whatever whatever it is that they want from you, okay, to control you, whatever that is. those types of things are behaviors that are literally manipulative, and you got to nip that in the bud. Thankfully, I'm the kind of person that, you know, once that person reveals that side of them and that they really are like that, I'm not going to hang around. No, I'm not going to hang around. It ain't going to take me no 20 years, 10 years. It ain't going to take me 5 years, whatever. Now, just dealing with annoying or aggravating to your soul behaviors is different. Okay, where you're just truly not compatible. Okay, that's kind of what I was dealing with my second husband. He's a decent guy. Actually, he's a good guy. He's good people, and so am I. We clash. We just clash because we're both headstrong, go-getters, firstborns, whatever. Okay, we just clash. But you know, he is still good people. Okay, so that's not what I'm talking about. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about true Jekyll and Hyde. Act one way, and then when they get you, or when they get you back in their control, or wherever they want you, they flip out on you. It's actually very devilish-like behavior, okay? That's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. That if you stay around for very long, you will be worn down. You will die an early death, okay? Because that's stress. Stress is very bad on the body. It's hard on the body. It's very hard on the body. Okay, so you must limit your explanation, because they will try to manipulate you. They will try to guilt trip you. They will. It's just to be expected. See, a person who is self-aware, who is balanced in their emotion, balanced in their love, and understands that a love is a reciprocal, two-way street, and a person who is honest and upfront and who has good intentions, a person who wants good for you, who wants nothing but the best for you, right? If they see you hurt, or they see you, or they hear you say that you are the culprit to my pain, or, you know, I feel hurt by your behaviors, or whatever, right? Anybody who really means well for you is actually going to hurt when you hurt. So let me give you an example. Now, I'm talking about true. For example, my first husband, Travis, right? When he came to me and was hurt over certain behaviors, and there was plenty of blame that I could point back at him, because he was doing the most, and he was going through a time in his life where he was doing some things that he should not have been doing. And during all that, I absolutely initially started out blaming him and pointing fingers at him because of his behaviors that he was doing. But as God knocked me to my knees and made it very clear to me that I needed to do some inside work, some work on myself, some inside work. And as God humbled me with some humble pie, and I had to change a lot of the way that I was speaking and talking and things, right? During that particular time, he had to stop a lot of behaviors that he was doing, but I was the one that had to do the more inner work, the more changes, and I did. But during that time, as he started to come at me with different things, and I started to hear him, I could hear the pain behind what he was saying to me. I could actually hear the pain, how he actually was feeling hurt. And because I wanted nothing but good for him, and because I truly wanted good for him, it actually hurt me that I had hurt him. It hurt me enough to change, but it also hurt me in a way that was like, you know what? Whatever is best for you, like whatever is going to be best. If leaving me is going to be best for you, and you're going to be your best self and live your best life without me, then so be it. Like, that's what real love is. Real love, real unconditional love says, you know what? I love you. I love you with or without me. Like, with or without you being with me, I want to see nothing but good for you. And I want to see you do good. I want to see you succeed in life, even if it means without me. because if the way I am treating you is hurting you, or anything that I'm doing is hurting you and I don't realize it, then I need to go ahead and step back, because I want what's best for you, right? So, and that is releasing. And I not only did I do that for my first husband, but it's like I do that in general. When I have been, I was with somebody not too long ago, and it was a little time back, whatever, but our situations were not a match. We were not matching up. We were not a match for various reasons, but we were compatible, but our situations were not a good match, right? So, it was best that we go separate ways. And I very much prayed for him, and still pray for him, and pray for many of my family members and people that, I've had to, okay, we have to kind of go separate ways for right now, but I'm still praying for them because I want what's best for them, even if it means it's without me. Okay, because that's what real love is. That's how real love acts. That's what real love is. Anything else is selfish. Okay, so it says prepare for no contact. That's on the list. Prepare for no contact. And it says once you've communicated your decisions, minimize further contact to protect your emotional well-being. And now it says what to avoid. Avoid engaging in arguments. Don't get drawn into debates about who is wrong or right. Because bottom line is, once you make your decision to do whatever it is that you feel like you need to do, then the other person needs to respect that boundary. And if they don't, just avoid engaging in an argument. Just avoid it, because they're not going to sit. Most of the time, who you're dealing with, they're not going to say, yes, you're right, I'm a manipulative, controlling individual, and I would like to continue to control you. They're not going to admit to that. So you might as well just give it up and just not engage in excess arguments. Okay, giving false hope. Don't hint at a reconciliation or leave the door open for further contact. And that is a rule of engagement when you are serious about ending a relationship. Don't hint or giving false hope at a reconciliation. Make it clear. And then you have to stand on it. Responding to emotional manipulation. Recognize tactics like guilt tripping or playing the victim, and don't let them sway your decision. I'm sick, I'm hurt, I need you, but I was supposed to, but you were supposed to, and all my dreams, you shattered all my dreams. Okay, you know what? Sorry, honey boo boo. You better get some new dreams, because they don't include me. Okay, and you know what? That is not your fault. It's like we're all given equal opportunity, the same 24 hours every single day to make the most of this life. And sometimes you do need to do a U-turn or go back, just make it. I've had to do it. I literally had to do it. And let me tell you something. The Bible talks about something called restoration, or being restored. I know you may or may not be a Bible reader or a Christian, but you know what? I am, so I'm just going to say, it is what it is, okay? But in the Bible, every time that somebody has gone through a trial or tribulation, especially for God's name's sake, right? In the Bible, like Job, for example, or some of the, those who were doing the Lord's work and they were persecuted or whatnot. There's plenty of examples. And then what happens? An angel or his Holy Spirit comes down and restores you. So you'll go through a period of restoration. But it's only after you make that decision to do what you need to do, to get that person who's blocking your blessings out of the way, or to remove negative energy, entities, or whatever it is. You got to get rid of them. You have to move away from them. You have to move away from whatever is blocking you, right, from your blessing and your restoration. And when you do that, he will shower the blessings upon you at that point. When you make the proper decisions, the correct decisions. And if you make a decision, whatever that is, to move away or whatever, to do something, and it wasn't done in the best intentions or something like that, then maybe you won't have a restoration. Okay? But you'll know that you made the right decision when you start feeling restored. When you start getting blessed again. When it's like he's blessing you. He's using people, friends, whatever, family, or whatever to bless you. You're getting blessings. You're getting good things in your life. I was with someone for a time period, and he said that I was like his lucky charm. He felt like a king when we were together, and he felt blessed. He was actually getting restored because he had actually made the right decision at that point to remove himself from some negative energy. And then God sent in the blessing, right? And that happens, literally. And that's happened to me. That is actually where I'm at right now. And believe you me when I say, oh, this time though, because I've been through this in my life a couple times. So for me, because I have been through so much, I'm talking about from a young age. I am not removed from all the things that happen to young girls, like other young girls. Like people, right? I've had bad things happen to me when I was a child. I'm talking about not my parents or anything, but other people or whatever. And I've been through trials and tribulations, and I was not raised with a silver spoon. I was not raised rich by any means. I was rich in love, and I was rich in spirit, rich in Holy Spirit, rich in spirituality, with God's Holy Spirit, that kind of thing. But we were not rich financially. And, going through the things that I went through, losing my first husband young and all of that kind of thing, having to redo my life or start over again so many times. I moved out the day I turned 18. Okay, I'm a girl. I moved out the day I turned 18. I worked 3 jobs to do that. Now, I flipped my mom out, but I did that because I was ready to I thought I was ready to kind of start over, start my life, just to be grown. And I was, a firstborn. But I didn't move far. I moved only a few streets over. But I felt independent, right? So the point is that, I have literally had to get back on my feet several times. I feel like I'm probably the comeback queen at this point. Now I just feel like with God's help or whatever, it's like, oh God, you know what I mean? For me, I just look at it like, you know what? I have already lived 12 years past my husband, my first husband who passed. And some people just, they die young. Like I said, I always say, you never know when your expiration date is, right? But to see that happen so suddenly, and to know, like, every day after, initially it didn't feel like a gift living without my husband. But moving past through that, I understand that every day is a gift that we have to be able to gift others with agape love and with unconditional love, and to hopefully spread and be encouraging to others. To use your experiences for a force for good for every day that you are here. So I feel like because I've already lived so much longer past my first husband, that, I'm happy. It doesn't matter really and truly if I'm living in a ditch or if I'm living, in a palace on top of a mountain. What matters to me is that I have sincere, honest love around me. Sincere, honest people and love. Real love. And if you're not honest, then I don't want you around me. Because dishonesty is what kind of causes, all types of confusion. The devil is a lie. He's the author of a lie. So in any case, it says, if you need additional support, you might need to seek professional therapy or trusted, friends or family and whatnot. Now, this is not easy to do, I know, if you have kids. if you have kids, a lot of people who manipulate or are controlling, they literally will go into a relationship trying to hook you. I mean, you see it all the time. Women do it all the time when they want to get a ball player or whatever. You know, they're trying to secure their life or what. I don't know how. I guess it's all in how you look at life and what you value. And I guess it's all in what you consider security. But for me personally, that's not security to me. Having somebody's baby. I don't know. I don't care how much money he has. I guess I've already learned that lesson so many times. I just don't look at life. I don't look at things in life monetarily or money. Like, security is not money. Security to me is my relationship with God. Security to me is the type of real love that I have around me. So I don't know. But anyway, women do this all the time. And men. Some men, they want to hook a woman or whatever. And they, it's like, let me have his baby or whatever. And then that way he'll always have to be around me and I can always have control of him or whatever, the yada, yada, yada. I have literally heard women who have said that, like, he can't go nowhere because I have his kids and that kind of thing or whatever. I mean, to me, I'm looking at it like I can't go nowhere because I got his kids. I don't want to be controlled. Especially, like, to me, that's a false sense of hope. I want that man to be on his P's and Q's every day of his life for me, just like I should be on my P's and Q's, showing up properly, the right way, godly, simply, it's like I really, any relationship where two people who just don't want to be together because they don't want each other, like, I just want to be wanted. Like, you want to show up because you want to be there. That's it. Like, to me personally, but that's just me. Anyway, people do this. People definitely do this. So if you have kids, it is harder to evoke this because kids will, first of all, kids will be the first one to manipulate and to go back and forth. I mean, I knew somebody who his ex was using his daughter to literally watch his phone and, like, record him when he was driving and he was on the phone and who he was talking to and all this kind of stuff, and was using the kid as a manipulator. I can't believe it. Like, I was like, what? And you're putting up with that? To me, that's what I consider to be a pushover. He might have been a man, but that's a to me. I mean, any man who allows a woman to do that, and much less a child, especially your child. I don't know. Most men I know would like, I don't want to, encourage. I know some people don't encourage spanking and stuff like that, but most people I know would not even allow a child to do that, much less the mother of the child. But anyway, it happens. It definitely happens. People do it. And they allow this type of manipulation like it's normal. And of course, you might think it's normal because you might have grown up with a mother like that. Like, that definitely happens. You might have had a mother, and so you might think all women are like that. All women are not like that. Just like all men are not like that. Absolutely. All men are not like that. And it's like, you got to nip that kind of stuff in the bud. You can't allow that. You can't allow it. Your life will be a living hell. Your life, I couldn't deal with it. But anyway, with kids, there is, if you type that in, you can add in, with kids. And they give you lots of, advice. Like, the first thing you want to do is, because it says how to end a toxic manipulative relationship with kids. One of the first things you need to do is build support system. So if you're the female and you're trying to get away from a guy who is controlling or manipulative, then you're going to need to start creating a trustworthy support system without him. Okay. Friends, family, whatever, babysitter, a job, things like that. That's the first thing you're going to have to do. You're going to have to become independent. You're going to have to start working on your independence. You may need to move in silence. You may need to move quietly or, undetected or whatever, so that to not set that crazy person off or whatever. But, it's going to be worth it. It will be worth it. And it says cut off contact with the other person. And let's see. Okay, it says, according to Parents Magazine, ultimately, I'm just reading something. Ultimately, the bottom line is this. Unhappy parents do not tend to raise happy children. Yeah, that's kind of like, duh. That's funny. Yeah, unhappy parents do not tend to raise happy children. And unhealthy relationships that stay together for just the kids when the marriage is destructive or tend to produce children who have unhealthy relationships as adults. They consider that's what they call generational curses. That's what that is right there. Okay, but there was other things that talked about. It says, let's see. I have to go back and find it now because I saw some other, they did give. Oh, okay, so here it says, ending a toxic relationship when you have kids. Have open and honest communication is essential. Have an honest discussion with your partner about the decision to end a relationship. Expressing understanding and compassion, avoid placing blame, and focus on the well-being of the children. So what that looks like, and I did read this somewhere in here, it said basically not having conversations that have anything to do with anything outside of children, outside of your kids. Okay, so it's kind of like, I think it's falling. Okay. It's kind of like, like having a conversation outside of the kids could potentially give that person false hope of reconciliation. Also, they may think that you love them. It's like, oh, he still loves me, she still loves me because he or she asked about blah, 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 blah. Okay. And with certain people, you can't do that. With certain people, they do not know how to respect boundaries. They don't like boundaries, and they don't know how to respect boundaries. And so therefore, you give them an inch and they'll take the whole yard. And, that for those type of people, you have to cut them off or go, like stick to your boundaries. Whatever that boundaries, create your boundaries. You cannot be scared to create boundaries. It is okay to have boundaries. It is healthy to have boundaries. God gave us boundaries. We have boundaries. Boundaries are for our own well-being, and they're for your own well-being. And being honest, being upfront about your feelings is best for everybody involved, so that nobody is feeling manipulated, so that nobody is wondering or nobody is having false hope of any type, right? And if you have a problem with honesty, then you need to ask yourself why. If you feel scared on the inside, to be honest, if you feel nervous or you're feeling scared, ask yourself why. Because I guarantee you, let's just say, for example, maybe you are a man trying to remove yourself from a manipulative, controlling woman. And you are feeling nervous or scared to even speak up to that person and evoke a boundary and be firm with that person. Ask yourself why. Ask another male friend who has done something similar. How did they handle it? Or how would they feel? Or how do they feel about XYZ? It'll help to see that there are a lot of men or different people will view the very same activity, like for example, what I said about a child who was videotaping the dad for the mother, whatever he was driving, who he was talking to, his phone and all that kind of stuff for her. If you share that with another man, I could guarantee you a lot of men would be like, hell no. They would be like, no, she got to go. Like, cut that off. Goodbye. Like, the end, whatever. Most men I know would not put up with that. Just like most women I know would not put up with that. Right? It's like, what you think is, sometimes people get chiseled down in this abusive relationship for so long, they don't even realize that they're even in an abusive, manipulative, controlling relationship. Like, they don't even realize it. And it's because it's happened at such a slow rate, or maybe they were used to. It's like, for example, that young girl who I was talking about is going to grow up thinking that it's okay for her to turn around and have that same type of behavior with her man. And when her man ups and leaves, or who knows, pops off at her or goes crazy, whatever, she's going to be like, well, blah, 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 blah. This was how my mama did it or whatever. She's going to think that that's okay. That's not okay behavior. Not by any means. Literally, you could look that up. Like, if Google says, then for a fact, like, that's wrong, whatever. Like, if something as simple as that on Google, and Google is like the driest example versions of controlling manipulative behavior, like, that to me was like way off the charts. Children should not, first of all, children should never be put in a position where they have to be some type of report, go between, whatever, take sides, whatever. That's just wrong. That's wrong on so many levels, right? And it's wrong as an example to her, because that's not how a woman or a godly wife, that's not good behavior by any means, okay? And it's not okay for her to see her father accept that type of behavior, because she's gonna get with some guy and expect him to be a pushover. And that's not okay when you need a man to be a man. And, use his cojones and be firm about things, right? Like, no, what type of guy is she gonna be attracted to? It's just that that is just so wrong on so many psychological levels, right? And so, in any case, I don't remember now where I was even going off of that as far as that goes. But in any case, having an honest discussion and being honest and open about your feelings is always the best recipe for success. Always. Here's the thing. When you are honest with somebody, you can now go and wipe your hands clean. It's like, yo, I told you my truth. Yo, I told you my honest feelings, opinions, whatever. Do whatever you want with it. I love you. I don't love you. I like you. You're kind of cute. You're kind of pretty. You're kind of this, whatever. I enjoy your time. I don't enjoy your time. I don't want to be with you. You stink. You smell bad. I don't like that. Whatever it is, right? But when you're honest, you can now, like, get it off your chest and be done. Be done with whatever. And now let the other person, it's their responsibility. The ball is in their court to act right. So, whatever. It's kind of like, I've said my piece. Now you go do whatever you want with that, okay? And to me, it is more like a release and a way of, like, I can let go of the situation now because I've been honest and I've expressed, my true thoughts. Some people, though, they don't understand boundaries. They don't respect boundaries. I mean, the people who don't respect boundaries, obviously there are people who don't respect boundaries, because every single day you go down to any courthouse and you're literally going to see, countless of however many people who are putting restraining orders on people because they don't know how to respect boundaries. So clearly there are people in the world that we all get entangled with and mixed up with, and we didn't mean to, but next thing you know, you might be one of those people who have to go down to a courthouse to put a restraining order on somebody. Okay? Because why? They don't know how to respect the boundaries. Either they can't keep their hands to themselves, or they can't stay, off of your grounds, or stay away from following you, or manipulating you, controlling you, touching you, hurting you, casting threats, throwing threats, trying, maybe, who knows, doing the most, getting somebody else to try to hurt you, or sending out other people, or whatever, who knows. But anyway, those are the type of people who are usually controlling and manipulative, because they don't respect boundaries. People who don't respect boundaries are controlling and manipulative, and they are the ones who end up getting restraining orders put on them. So it's like, if don't feel bad if you are somebody out there who has got mixed up with somebody like that. It happens. It can happen to the best of us. The next thing you know, you are mixed up with the wrong person or whatever. Okay. But if everybody just respected people's boundaries, their feelings, their wishes, their desires, then this wouldn't be a thing. We wouldn't have all these pages on Google. We wouldn't have these issues, right? But clearly we do. And so, don't feel bad if you've gotten mixed up in a situation like that or whatever, but there is ways to correct the wrong. There is ways to bring balance and peace to your life. And when you do the correct acts, when you actually take the steps that you need to take, when you take those steps that you need to take, you'll know that you are being blessed when restoration comes in. Peace. When you are able to sila, which is Hebrew for rest, meditate, rest, meditate. You're able to be calm. Okay, because God is a God of order and peace. Okay, and as he restores you, you will know, you will feel it. You will feel restoration in your life. That is the goal. And that's how you know that you have actually taken the correct steps. I hope that helps.